When I think about stories of children's, I really think in terms of a book. Several of the chapters have already been written. They've been written since 1923, when our St. Paul Children's first opened its doors. This year, in 2007, we were recognized by U.S. News and World Report as one of the top children's hospitals in the nation.
For us to remain the best, the gold standard as we call it, we must not focus on the past, but rather on the future, and start a new chapter with a clean page that will allow us once again to redefine the best.
And we're about to write a chapter that we think is going to carry us forward for the next several decades.
Epilepsy is one of the most common, least understood, and most scary of the chronic childhood diseases. When we take the seizures out of the family's picture, out of the child's picture, and allow them to go on with their lives, that's as rewarding as it gets. Louise was having seizures. She started having seizures, but initially they were fairly well controlled, and as time went on, they became more and more difficult to control.
Louise had brain surgery this summer, twice, at Children's in St. Paul.
Over the series of months, we just worked every week at teaching Louise a lot of different relaxation and self-regulation skills.
And Louise had a test called a magnetoencephalography, and she had to hold perfectly still without blinking and without breathing and without moving a muscle.
I couldn't even do this.
I think the test was 3 hours, and she did the whole thing.
She can wrap you around her little finger, and the fact that she doesn't have the seizures anymore to worry about is very rewarding for all the people who have been involved.
Say goodbye, Louise, and we're going to call it a night.
Bye.
All right.
I love you very much, and this is the end. I feel good and happy.
Children's really is the best, but we want to make it better.
The expansion and the redesign will allow for, number one, a much better experience for the families, which then ultimately will get the kids better care.
I just learned on my way in that a child I've been caring for years who has a very resistant tumor that I've been in despair about. Found out just now, right before I walked in, that his MRI showed that all the tumors are shrinking.
My doctor said that my cancer cells are shrinking.
That whole clinic is amazing. I mean, for Trent to look forward to coming into the clinic, he's like, oh, good, I can't wait to see Dr. Spencer. I can't wait to see Linda. I can't wait to see Rochelle.
Mom, because Pac-Man's there. That's why.
Oh, and Pac-Man, too.
2 years ago, I was really tired and I was bleeding a lot. My doctor said that I had leukemia.
To find out something devastating about your most precious person in your life changes things forever.
Children's is unbelievable. From the very beginning, we have always felt a sense of total and complete confidence. They've kept us afloat as a family.
After his first bout of chemotherapy, he had quite a bit of weakness from the steroids that he was on. So we had to do a lot of strengthening of his hips, his core muscles, his shoulders, so he could get back to walking.
He had lost his hair for the second time, and he was very depressed about losing it.
One time, all my basketball buddies shaved their heads for me, and I was really surprised.
They came and we walked around the corner and there stood these 12 boys, all bald. It was just an incredible show of support and love.
Andrew had some tough times in the beginning, like most kids. And yet he had that great resilience of spirit that most children have. I have every expectation and hope that he's going to do great in life and make a difference in the world. If we can make this journey easier for the family, it's going to make the child's journey better.
When a child comes to Children's to be cared for, we treat them as if they were our own child. We give them that dedication, that care, that attention, because we know that if it was our child there, that's what we would want for them.
When we found out about Jack's heart defect, We were thrown into a whirlwind of craziness. And once we got to Children's, people were wonderful at explaining to us every step of the way what was going on.
Jack was born with one ventricle, so instead of 2 pumping chambers, only 1, and he underwent a series of operations to treat that condition.
And they have been able to really make him a normal, active 7-year-old child after being here.
It looks like it.
I provided play materials and some of the things he would need to normalize his environment, but his parents and his family provided a lot of the emotional support that he needed during that time.
With them making us feel like we were part of Jack's team, I think it made that transition of being at the hospital and bringing him home that much smoother. And now that they're looking at expanding, hopefully that'll make it even that much more comfortable for the family, and the parents as well as the siblings.
Children's has made a commitment to build a cardiac center so that all of the interventions are happening in the same physical space. And for us, that's exciting and very important.
I think having a baby brings out the best in everybody. I love seeing children get better. I love seeing parents see their children get better. If you can make a difference in a baby's life, you've made a difference for 80 years. Almost every family that has a baby in our unit didn't want to be there. They were expecting a normal delivery. They were expecting that they would have this beautiful baby and they would go home after 2 or 3 days. And our opportunity is to help them to make the best of a bad situation and hopefully for it to have a happy ending.
Ailey and Rachel had a condition that affects just a small percentage of identical twins called twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome. They were so early that their eyes were still actually fused shut, almost like a kitten's when they're born.
On their first or second day of life, both the girls had to have surgery on their hearts. And they were tiny little babies that were less than a pound. And just the thought of having to have a big surgeon with big hands operating on their tiny little hearts. And I just bonded with these babies, I bonded with the family, and I just really wanted to help them out.
When you're looking down in the isolette at a 1-pound baby, you really don't feel like a parent. And the nurses, the doctors, the entire staff really made a point of getting us involved in their care from the moment that we could, and really calling us mom and dad and making us feel like parents from the first moment we were there.
With the Moquist kids, I remember one was the more feisty one was the more mellow one, and they've truly retained those personalities.
Surprise!
Healthcare is about technology and it's about information, but it's about relationships. After I've taken care of a baby for 5 or 6 days in a row, I feel like that baby's a part of my family.
And so one of the little things that we've done every year on their birthday is to bring some treats in for the NICU staff. It's a tiny little way for us to express the littlest bit of gratitude to this incredible group of people who has given us our daughters.
One of the goals that we have with the expansion is to provide mostly private rooms for our patients, which will allow the parents privacy. And we hope that it will go a long way towards facilitating that relationship between the parent and the child.
Gold standard to me means the best, the quintessential level that everyone strives for. And when you get there, then you raise the standard even further.
We have great doctors, great nurses, phenomenal personnel. We need to make sure that they have the right spaces and the right technology to give these kids the best care possible.
Our investments going forward are not just in buildings. We're investing in some of our most complex and important programs.
This is a new chapter in children's history. We are striving to do that which we haven't done before. And we believe that we'll get results that we've never gotten before.
I'm here simply because I had a first-hand experience with my wife, Colleen. Our son, Sean, is alive and doing extremely well today because of this facility. We want the same service to be provided for any child. We are not only one of the largest children's hospitals in the country, we are one of the best.